When Ben Rylie finds himself in the crosshairs of Kraven the Hunter, will he be Spider-Man enough to deal with this threat? Well, let's hop into the pages of Amazing Spider-Man issue number 79 and find out together, shall we? So then, as this newest story arc from Cody Ziegler opens up, we actually get a little glimpse into the lives of the everyday working drones at the Beyond Corporation. By and large, they all seem pretty happy and pretty secure. There's a nice sense of community, and a bunch of the people who work at Beyond go drinking at night, seemingly unaware that they're working for an evil corporation, or given the fact that this is big business, they're probably super aware Beyond is evil, because I mean, show me one successful company that isn't also deeply evil. One of these worker drones ends up getting jumped in the alley while walking home drunk. Normally this wouldn't be a big deal, but apparently that guy's job the next day was supposed to oversee Ben Riley's suit firmware update. Yes, that's right, Ben's Spider-Man suit is so high-tech it needs firmware updates. Pfft, gotta change the graphics cards on it too, maybe clean out the dust between the fans every so often so it doesn't overheat. All this extra time in the corporate world is no good for Ben. He continues to butt heads with all of the higher-ups, including Marcus, who all seem to have very different ideas about what Beyond Spider-Man should be doing with his time. Ben thinks that it's important for Spider-Man not just to battle supervillains like Morbius and the UFOs, but also to be out there on the street stopping petty crime and showing the people of New York that he's there to help. Also, Ben can't quite seem to shake the feeling that everyone at Beyond thinks he's dumb, even though that's totally untrue. He's a genius after all. Well, honestly, it's more like Peter's a genius and he's a clone of him. Also, it's not like we've actually seen Ben do or say anything particularly smart in this series outside getting himself the cushy corporate Spider-Man job. I guess intelligence really is in the eye of the beholder, isn't it? While everyone waits for the firmware to update, Ben decides to go get some air and go on a personal errand, mainly to go visit Peter Parker in the hospital and give Mary Jane a chance for some time to herself. Yes, don't worry everyone, Ben the new Spider-Man, and by extension the book itself, has not forgotten that Peter exists. In fact, Ben takes the opportunity to spill his heart to the comatose Peter. Ben says that he knows that Peter is strong and resolute and he's gonna come out the other side of this smelling like roses the same way he always does, and he can't wait for the two men to get back together and be Spider-Men together again. It's at that point he gets a call about an armored car robbery, so it looks like Spider-Man is going to have to swing into action. Well, first he's going to have to make an excuse as to why he's visiting this particular hospital. Thankfully he's able to cook up something about the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Yeah, well, it's still up for debate whether or not Ben is smart. He's certainly creative and quick on his feet and has that good old-fashioned Spider-Man sense of humor, that's undeniable. The armored car is an easy enough problem to deal with. Spider-Man takes care of the crooks and also saves a little girl from getting pancaked by the runaway truck. It's here too that Ben and Marcus actually end up kind of understanding each other better than they have before. Marcus really does get to see that Ben does care about regular people and helping out and living up to the superhero ideal beyond what just Beyond wants for him. And Marcus vows to try and make more regular street crime part of the algorithm that tells Spider-Man what to do in the city. Of course, it's not all stopping bank robbers and saving children, though. Beyond is still an evil corporation, and as such it is still beholden to its shareholders. Marcus says that one particularly rich and influential member of the Beyond board has stopped responding to messages, and as such they want Spider-Man to do a wellness call. This should be pretty easy, right? Unfortunately, by the time Ben gets there, the old rich guy is holding on to life, and the entire swanky New York apartment has been set to explode and filled up with booby traps by none other than Kraven the Hunter. Well, technically Kraven's son and clone, but we're not going to get in the weeds on that one. Well, actually, okay, maybe we will just a little bit. Kraven has come here the way Kraven so often does, to challenge Spider-Man, to cleanse him through the power of the hunt. Though they seek to imply that this Kraven has no idea that Spider-Man isn't Peter Parker at the moment. Likewise, Ben has no idea about all the other stuff that went down with Kraven. So as far as either of them are concerned, this is just regular old Spider-Man versus regular old Kraven, and honestly there's something kind of interesting about that dynamic. Now, despite all the brand new high-tech upgrades that Ben's Spider-Man Spider-Man suit has been given, apparently they didn't stop and consider the more mystical, magical, herbal threats posed by Kraven Jr. here and his poison darts. Ben gets stabbed with a bunch of them at once and ends up, well, what's a good way to say totally tripping balls as the comic ends. And so that was Amazing Spider-Man issue number 79, everyone. I was really interested in checking out this story because it's the first time I've read something by Mr. Ziegler here, a guy who's actually going to be writing for the She-Hulk show on Disney+. If I had to really pinpoint what I thought this story was about, it's about Ben trying to find a good, healthy work-life balance, which is difficult to do when a company like Beyond thinks they own Spider-Man mind, body, and soul right now like they would any other one of their employees. It's a problem Peter never really had to deal with, because for better or worse, Peter was usually a freelancer who made his own rules and was his own boss, even when he did have to answer to someone. Also, well, I'm almost certain Kraven is only here right now because we gotta up his multimedia connections, what with his movie on the horizon from Sony. That's still not to say they can't do something fun and interesting with him, especially as this essentially seems to be Kraven but with a clean slate. Overall, I'd give this one a 7.5 out of 10. I enjoyed it enough. Hey there everyone, it's your pal Cape Joel again, and if you're seeing my face right now, that means you watched to the end of the video, and I'll always be grateful for that. Retention helps in this crazy YouTube game, and so does becoming a patron. If you head on down to the description, you can find a link to my Patreon page. Recently just redid all the tiers, a lot of cool stuff offering up there, exclusive commentaries, exclusive polls, behind the scenes concept art for Capes and Quest. That's the brand new D&D show I've started soon. Never been a better time to become a patron. You can become a patron for as little as $1 a month and help the channel grow and, help me continue to deliver content like what you just saw. So I want to thank you all, and I will see you again next time. Bye-bye.